AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
This is Sunbelt Commissioner Keith Gill, and I listen to the Funbelt Podcast.
This is the Funbelt Podcast, part of the Believe Network.
Folks, the Dusty Thibodeau of Warhawk Report, Jeremy Harper of Powell Razor, and Shane Metlin of the Daily News Record.
I think it's potentially a very good week for the Sunbelts.
But I'm just kind of going off on a random rant. It's just frustrating.
Hey, welcome back to Funbelt Podcast. I'm in the studio. Shane Metlin's in the studio. But Thibodeau, just like the Texan he is, he's in his pickup truck right now, rumbling across state lines, 2 hours away from Monroe, Louisiana, to check out the Monroe game coming up on Saturday. What a stud. Thibodeau, how you doing, man? Are you keeping your eyes open?
I'm not going for the football game, Jeremy. I'm going to celebrate a soccer championship where our women's soccer team got the big hardware, winning the regular season title.
Congrats.
Screw you guys, the Warhawks won.
Yeah, I was just about to relegate ULM down to Division II. But now it looks like you guys are finally adding value to the Sunbelt solar system. Way to go.
You're welcome.
Guys, all right, I feel like I think we're going to talk a little bit about games that happened last week and maybe a little bit about this week's first game, the game against JMU and Texas State. And then we're going to do a little second and short. Are you guys ready for that?
Yay!
Yeah.
Warhawks win.
All right, I think Thibodeau might be a little high on the no-dos, Shane, so it's going to be really up to you and I to have penetrating analysis.
I'll do what I can.
Okay. Let's go over some of those games from last week before we dive into this week. It was week 9. I think we had already talked about South Alabama and Georgia State. South Alabama gets the 7-point win, didn't get the blowout. Georgia State probably still gnashing their teeth. I thought what a really good game, though, that turned out was Old Dominion Appalachian State. Shane, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, a lot of kind of how maybe we expected it to go, that ODU might pull one out, but it should be a pretty competitive game. And, ODU needed to get back on track. And I don't know if you feel like they did necessarily because they kind of had to hang on to win that one, but win's a win in Sunbelt play, and I think that's a pretty big one for the Monarchs to try to finish the season. They're probably out of the running for the East at this point, unless something crazy happens. But they finish strong, make this an 8-9 win season. I think you feel pretty good about where things are at ODU with Ricky Ronnie.
Yeah, I think the Monarchs are feeling pretty good about that. A little too weird for Appalachian State. And, hey, they hung onto the ball this time. Colton Joseph, I think, only had the one interception. Appalachian State did their best to make a game of it in the fourth quarter, came up with 14-0 run in the fourth quarter, just didn't have enough. Speaking of not having enough, Dusty, my Warhawks, 21, Southern Miss 49. It looks to me, though, that at least the Warhawks have found somebody to kick PATs.
That is correct. We have our sixth kicker of Chambliss. That is the kicker. He connected on all three PA only field goal attempts. That Southern Miss game, 3 straight turnovers where Southern Miss put up 21 points in there. You back that out, it's a one possession game. And I know you could always play the what ifs, but that was the real difference of the game, that they had 21 points off of turnovers.
Yeah, you got to protect the ball, Tibbs. That's absolutely right. In fact, I think Old Dominion learned that the hard way, losing 2 straight, having lost the ball 8 times in that stretch. But yeah, Southern Miss, whether or not turnovers notwithstanding, Braylon Braxton still has the 4 touchdowns. Just a team that's running on all cylinders right now. Going to be very hard to beat in the Sun Belt West. Speaking of Sun Belt West, sort of a Sun Belt West versus Sun Belt East matchup, Arkansas State takes care of business against Georgia Southern. You know what? I'll just kind of weigh in on this game since I was watching it from top to finish. It was the most complete game Arkansas State has played all year. Defensively and offensively, Arkansas State seemed to be on top of it. They did have a couple turnovers that did result in some early action for Georgia Southern, but in the end, that Georgia Southern force defense just didn't work out for them. Arkansas State ends up on top. And then the last game of the evening, Troy and Louisiana. Shane, did you watch this game?
I didn't watch it. I followed it.
Okay. All right. Did you have any analysis?
I don't know. I mean, Troy keeps running. I know. I think you're a little bit more in the Southern Miss camp, and I'm maybe a little bit more Troy when it comes to who's like the favorite in the West is. And I think we'll find out pretty soon. But yeah, I just like Troy keeps winning. Their losses at this point look like respectable losses, and yeah, that's my analysis. As I'm still on the Troy bandwagon when it comes to the West.
I think one thing, and I'd like Thibodeau to break the tie on this. One problem I have with Troy is their defense isn't the old Troy defense. You can run on Troy, and you might even be able to pass a little bit on Troy. And Troy has always been known, at least for the last 10 years, as a team that can really shut you down, especially in the red zone. And they just don't have that this year. And I'm not taking anything away from Troy. I think Troy's done a good job. I just feel like Southern Miss from top to bottom is very hard to beat. Thibodeau, why don't you break this tie for us?
Having seen and lost to both teams, I really kind of lean a little bit more of Team Troy, that they're the better team in the West there. I do feel like they have enough defense to contend in the West and win the title. But Southern Miss, to me, has the offense. And I'm excited. I don't remember when that matchup is, but I'm excited to see that matchup. That's kind of the semifinal for the Sun Belt Conference title.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. Arkansas State, by the way, plays Southern Miss and Troy back to back. So if they want to be part of this race, they're going to have to win those games. I want to talk a little bit. I don't want to make it part of second and short because it's already happened, Shane Metlin. But James Madison, Texas State looked like a pretty good game the first half, right? I know James Madison, they sort of took that early lead and looked pretty dominant at the beginning. And then suddenly Texas State scores like 17 unanswered points, and it's a one-score game headed into halftime. Then what happened, Shane?
I think we're starting to see the depth of JMU show through in some of these games. They've been so good in the second half. And I think they've put together a roster where, you look at their running back stable. Like, they get down to their third or fourth running back, and there's really not much drop-off. We got guys like George Pettaway, who was basically all conference last year, having trouble finding carries after kind of losing his job, getting Wally pipped a little bit with an injury. They're deep on both lines. And I think that's just what we're seeing in the second half of these games here, where, they feel good if they have a lead at all or are keeping it close at halftime. I think they feel really confident that they're going to just roll in the second half.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, but I believe they were running a linebacker at running back at the end of that game just for chuckles and giggles.
Yeah, he gets carries for the scout team, so I think maybe they kind of rewarded him a little bit with a real carry or two to getting that stat line there. So that was interesting, though.
So, Dusty, Brad Jackson, who's been a very solid quarterback, he's been one of the more consistent guys. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball, throws 3 picks against JMU, and then he ends up riding the bench for the rest of the game. What's going on with Texas State, Dusty? This is your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they got a lot of guys that are beat up and banged up right now. I don't know how many of those are really the key players that would be that difference. But you got to wonder if this isn't, kind of hammering the panic button of, oh shit, we're hitting the halfway or over halfway point of the season, and we're sitting at over right now in our last season of the glorious G6 of the Sun Belt. Maybe they're going to rescind that invitation for us to go into the G6 of the Pac-2.
Yeah, and this calls into question, Dusty. Should we, as mature adults, should we be taking pleasure in the Bobcats' struggles this season? Dusty, I'm going to throw it to you first. Should we take pleasure in this?
Jeremy, do you remember back when we would go to like Skate City and there was the girl you wanted to skate with?
Oh,
and
sure.
then she said, "No, I'm not skating with you. You're ugly. You stink, whatever."
Wow. No, that never happened to me. No.
And then she turns around to go skate off and just absolutely bites it. That's kind of where we are. That, eat a little hardwood. It'll be okay. You can get up, have a bloody mouth, and we'll see you when you come back around again.
Shane, I think we all like G.J. Kinney, and we like the Bobcats fans in general, right? They seem like good enough guys. But, when a team just sort of says, hey, adios, we think we found someone better than you, and then kind of brags about it a little too hard, and now they're struggling this way, is it okay to feel kind of smug about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's amusing. It's fun. I don't think it's any true vitriol, really. I mean, there may be some hard feelings, but I don't think it's the kind where it's like real bitter. But yeah, it's amusing to look at them being 0-4 right now. It's kind of like, I mean, like I said, nothing against G.J. Kinney personally, but it's kind of funny that they essentially bid against themselves to pay him $2 million a year. And this is the result you're getting. And it also is like interesting, Joe, to kind of look at the future for Texas State where, we don't know a lot about revenue sharing or NIL or anything in a lot of programs. It's out there for Texas State, what they do now and what they're planning for the future. Yeah. And you're not getting a good return on your investment right now.
No.
That stuff getting FOIA because of their move to the conference. So it's interesting, and it is a little bit funny. I think taking a small amount of Schadenfreude with this is acceptable if you're not being over the top with it.
Yeah, here's the thing. Every team, everybody who is a fan has had a team that they expected to do well, and you're kind of beating your chest about that team, and you're feeling really good, and maybe poking your friends in the ribs about, how great you are. And then it turns out to be a disaster season. It happens for all of us. So if you are taking pleasure in Texas State, just remember your day may be coming at any time. So, guys, I want to go into our favorite segment. Oh, go ahead, Jerry. Yeah.
Does that mean that I can bask in the glory of the Texas State struggles?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
If anybody has the right to do that, it's a ULM fan.
I was just making sure I was being reasonable.
No, you're reasonable. Listen, I'm basking in the glow. I mean, I feel a little bad about it, but I'm basking all the same.
Okay, let's be honest though. You're basking a little bit because the most smug, the biggest bragger about the whole move, you got a little bit of a personal grudge against the president over there, don't you?
Against Kelly Damphouse?
Yeah.
Chancellor? No, you know what? First of all, Kelly and we text back and forth all the time. We're good friends. But I will say that there is maybe a little bit of undercurrent to that with Kelly there, with Lincoln Lincoln Perry there. Yeah, so there's a little bit. I admit it. You might not feel it over there at JMU. You may not even feel that over there at ULM. But yeah, we do feel that a little bit at Arkansas State.
I just got to get my picture with Boko before they leave.
Why haven't you done that yet?
I don't know. It wasn't that important because he was always going to be around.
Yeah, now he's gone. All right, guys. Are you ready for the most important segment of the week?
Yeah, where we talk about ULM winning a women's soccer title.
And you know what? Congratulations to the ULM women soccer. It's been a long time coming. I know that program struggled for a long time, Dusty Thibodeau, and then they got their act together, new coach, new players, and they were dynamite. So congratulations.
How did Arkansas State do?
No, terrible. I think there's like 8 games we didn't even score. We did come out on top the last game against Coastal Carolina, so there was a little hope at the end there. But and by the way, the Warhawks beat Arkansas State, so congratulations on that too. No, the most important segment, Dusty, is second and short. You know, second and short is your favorite, right, Dusty? Dusty?
Always.
All right, we know the rules of second and short. We run down the games of the week. We try to keep it 2 minutes per game. We ping pong back and forth between Dusty Thibodeau, myself, and Shane Metlin. And from that, you, dear listeners, should get perfect analysis of what's going to happen. So, boys, are you ready for second and short?
Yes.
All right, this is sort of a half second and short. It's more like a half second and even shorter. Marshall and Coastal Carolina, even as we speak. Now, this will get posted tomorrow. We'll know the game results, but it's at halftime right now in real time. Marshall 20, Coastal 17. It's practically 0-0. I'm going to throw it over to you, Shane. How do you think this game turns out in the end?
I'm going to lean towards Marshall with the slim advantage. I think they're going to get it done.
Wow. And I tell you why they're going to get it done, Shane, because I care about my viewers. I think they want more information. Is that I think Carlos Del Rio Wilson is the real deal. The guy can run. When he doesn't feel like running, he can throw the ball. He is an awesome quarterback out there in Marshall, and I think he's probably the only reason why Tony Gibson and Marshall is doing well this season. And I want you to tell me I am wrong, Dusty Thibodeau.
Okay, you're wrong. No, I like Marshall in this. Having seen Coastal firsthand, having watched them a couple other times during the season early on, I just don't think that they are the normal Coastal Carolina team that we're used to seeing. Whereas Marshall has really surprised everybody with the hyphenated quarterback that he's really been able to tear it up. I know they have the halftime lead. I tried to maybe do a little friendly wager with a guy in a toga before the game started, but couldn't get the app to load in time. I'd still stick by that friendly wager and go for the Thundering Herd.
Now, to be fair, we did have Coastal Carolina absolutely cooked at week 3 when they were beaten by Eastern Carolina by laying a goose egg, right? We thought that was it. The chance have nothing. But you know what? Running back Samari Collier has given them the chance, some really good offense. I just don't think that they have enough offense against this Marshall Thundering Herd. This Thundering Herd are just playing with too much confidence. I'm going to go with the Herd. But, all right, so the real games, or at least the real games, in my opinion, starts Saturday, November 1st, right? We had the JMU Texas State game, which was awesome for a half. It looks like we have Marshall and Coastal Carolina playing some pretty good football, entertaining the fans. Let's keep that streak going. Saturday, November 1st, Old Dominion Monarchs, they're 5-3. They take on ULM Warhawks, they're 3-5. 2:30 p.m. ESPN Plus. The Monarchs are a big favorite. 16.5 points when I did this. I think Thibodeau said it had gone up to 17.5 points. Thibodeau, how's this game going to play out?
It's Military Appreciation Day on the Bayou.
Oh, okay.
That means there's already a P-40 Warhawk in the north end zone. And so it's already fate that the Warhawks dethrone the little blue kittens on Military Appreciation Day. Sure, we're down to our third string quarterback of Landon Graves. But as the local fans have said, if we recruit local, the fans will come. So we're putting that to a test.
Okay.
With Landon Graves from Ouachita Christian, likely getting his second career start, having started last week against Southern Miss. It is going to be all Warhawks all the time, containing Colton Joseph. I get to hug Ricky Ronnie and take a picture with him after the game, though, and send him on his way.
All right, that is masterful analysis from Dusty Thibodeau. Listen, the Warhawks, if they're going to win the game, they're just going to have to start scoring some points. I mean, in this 4-game losing streak that Bryant Vincent and the team are enduring right now, they're mustering 12.5 points per game. And twice they were held to single digits. So, Shane, I have to ask you, do the Warhawks have a chance against the Monarchs, who, for what it's worth, know how to score the ball?
I think they have a chance. I think we're getting to a little bit of desperation time for the Warhawks. ULM need to make a bowl game. That was the goal for this season. It looked like they were on pace to do it. They're struggling a little bit. I think winning 3 of the last 4 though is doable, but this is one you maybe want to get against an ODU team that's kind of just been a little bit up and down. We don't know exactly what we are, but I think we find out what ODU is this time around. I think we find out if they can go win a solid game on a road against a team that's struggled a little bit, but it's hard to win in Monroe. If they do that, then I'm kind of back on the ODU bandwagon. I will say, though, picking ODU for your military appreciation night maybe backfires a little bit. You got the huge Navy base right there, right by campus in Norfolk. Tons of Navy people get their education at ODU when they're getting out of the service. So, maybe the military appreciation goes just as far for ODU as it does for ULM in this one. I'll toss that out to Thibodeau.
Sounds like to me the saluting hands are going to be really sore after that game. Monroe, not Monroe the team, Monroe the town forces you to play ball. There's something about the air, the bayou air, the swamp boat gas, the gumbo scent, the spices that really just force the opponent to dig deep against ULM. The Warhawks just need to prove they can score points before I can feel comfortable ever picking them. All right, speaking of Cajuns, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, they're 2-6. They go up against South Alabama Jags. They're also 2-6. It's going to be played at 2:30 on ESPN Plus. Jags are a 4.5-point favorite. On paper, it would seem that South Alabama has the better roster, but South Alabama can't seem to close out games. And this has to be just a bitterly disappointing year for the Cajuns, who picked to finish first in the Sun Belt West, have not looked anything like the football team that they were last season. I'm going to throw it over to Thibodeau. What are we going to see out of this game?
Much like last week, where it was Georgia State, South Alabama on an elimination game, South Alabama was able to hold off elimination last week. They're not doing it this week. Jay Walker's going to pour one out for Major Applewhite as the Cajuns get back to their winning ways over the Jaguars.
Okay, nice. Metlin, do you agree with that powerful assessment?
I kind of do. I just haven't been, even with the recent win against Georgia State, I haven't been super impressed by South Alabama. That's not to say I'm overly impressed with Louisiana this year, obviously, but they kind of feel like better than a 2-win team, don't they? To a degree, they feel a little bit better than their record. They probably should have beaten Rice. They gave JMU a pretty solid challenge. I feel like Louisiana is just the better team, and if they get solid quarterback play, they have a pretty good chance of winning this one.
Yeah, and by solid quarterback play, I'm sure we're referring to Lunch Winfield. Anytime we can mention his name, it's a lot of fun. Here's the problem with the Cajuns. They just kind of melt in the fourth quarter. They scored only they've only scored 3 fourth quarter points in their last 3 losses. So something's got to happen in the fourth quarter for them, some way to seal the deal if they're going to beat South Alabama, who, quite frankly, they're not great in the fourth quarter either. Arkansas State Red Wolves, they take on the Troy Trojans. Arkansas State's 4-4. The Trojans are 6-2. It's at 7 p.m. on ESPNU. Hey, everybody can watch it. It's on worldwide. Trojans are a 7.5-point favorite. It's their homecoming. When Goose Crowder went down, we all kind of thought that the Trojans were headed for another humbling year. But Tucker Kilcrease has picked up the ball, guys, and he's running with it, and he's throwing it. And Thibodeau, what do you think this game's going to turn out to be?
You know, I really like this Troy team. I feel like from last year when they lost to ULM, something snapped in Jared Parker that has really righted the ship.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Even when they lost Goose, they didn't panic. They had Tucker coming in. He's been able to take care of the ball, keep the offense going. I think the Troy defense has actually kind of lived up to the hype that we've seen in the past of the Trojan defense. I really like this Trojan defense. I think that they have a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence. They know that it's going to come down to that Southern Miss game, and they want to make sure that they're in position to have that meaningful game against Southern Miss. So to do that, you got to beat Arkansas State. So I think the Trojans cover that 7.5.
Yeah, you know, that defense on paper has given up a lot of yards and some points, but it bends, right? It doesn't break. And that's kind of the hallmark of a good Sunbelt defense. It's always been just mitigating the damage from the opposing offense and then outrunning the opposition. Shane Metlin, how do you see this game turning out?
You know, you look at Arkansas State, and they're kind of the team in the Sun Belt that we just haven't talked enough about. Like, if they win this game, they are very much in the mix to be in the Sun Belt championship game after losing their opener to ULM and, you know, taking some heat for that. They squeaked by with a couple of 1-point wins, a little bit more convincing against Georgia Southern. Corey Rucker's kind of been back in conference play. All that said, I think it's just enough to put a scare in Troy. I think Troy is just good enough to win this one at home and kind of, you know, set themselves up for a run at the championship game. But I do think it's going to be an entertaining and fun game, and I think Arkansas State's going to be in it late, but tough to beat Troy at home.
Yeah, you know, playing at Veterans Stadium is very tough. Butch Jones was quick to point that out. It's hard to win at Veterans Stadium. Kilcrease, I think, has had 8 touchdowns in the team's 4 conference victories. He didn't look good against Buffalo. I thought that Kilcrease was going to be a bust. Since then, throwing lasers and sometimes getting it done with his legs too. I'm, you know what? I'm not going to be a homer, guys. I think Troy has the advantage of this game, but I'll be rooting for my Red Wolves. And now, before we close out, I got a little bonus for you guys. All right, Shane, can you name the 4 teams on bye this week?
Let's see. What can we talk about?
All right.
App State.
Uh-huh.
Don't think we heard much from them.
Uh-huh.
Both Georgia schools.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, is there somebody in the?
Who is the last one? Who could it be?
Not sure. I should be able to figure this out. Process.
All right, you got 3 out of 4. That's pretty good. It's Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Appalachian State. Dusty, with your eyes on the road, can you name the last team that is on bye this week?
Is it Southern Miss?
It is. It is Southern Miss. And that's how we conclude second and short. Yeah, with a win from Tibbs. Congratulations, Thibodeau. You nailed that. Well done.
I was just glad I had cell reception.
All right. While we have cell reception, it's time to close this out with our favorite segment of the show. That's plugs, promos, and parting shots. Thibodeau, are you awake enough to do yours?
I'm always awake, man.
Okay, let's hear it. Any moment.
I mentioned it a couple times during the show, but it's a big, big deal that the Warhawk women soccer won a championship, because this is a team that just 4 years ago was over and had only scored like 4 goals in the season. Since then, they've been able to take the record breaker Skylar Blaze, who has been Offensive Player of the Week several times this year. Yeah. She'll be a first-teamer this year. She'll probably get to play professionally over in the European leagues. It's a big deal, as Chris Vanini would always tell us. It's a big, big deal. And that's my parting shot.
Well, that's a good parting shot. It is a big deal. Good for, it's always fun to see. Like, I think the Warhawks golf team, was it women's golf a couple years ago, sort of rose from the muck?
Yeah, won the conference regular season and the tournament.
And now we're seeing the soccer team do the same. It's does it go without saying? Or I think we had some competent women's basketball for a little bit. So there's some good signs coming from the Warhawks that maybe they're ready to throw some elbows in the upcoming seasons. Shane Metlin, do you have a parting shot, a plug, or a promo?
I do. Obviously, Election Day is coming up. It's a fairly big one in Virginia for governor and some other ones.
I think I've heard of it.
I hate politics.
Sure.
Do you guys enjoy politics at all?
I do, actually. I have to admit that I keep my finger on the pulse of that. It's like sports.
Well, what do you think? And Thibodeau too, heading back to Louisiana. What do you think of politicians getting so actively involved in sports where there in Louisiana we have a governor apparently heading up the football search committee and getting rid of the athletic director because he didn't like the way he did his job. I'm just kind of curious, what do you guys think of all this craziness in Louisiana with LSU? Do you want to see your governor spending his time deciding who's coaching the football team, or should that be left to the professionals at the actual universities?
So here's the deal with the backward state of Louisiana that we all love so much. There's no president for the flagship school of LSU, A&M right now. So the way that the school charter is written, if the president isn't there because it's ultimately his hire as the CEO of the school, it defaults to the governor. I would have thought it was president of the LSU board, but no, it goes straight to the governor, apparently dating back to the days of the Longs when they were governors way back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, whenever it was, that they wanted to have their finger on the pulse of the fighting Tigers, that they wanted to have that control in case something like that were to happen. So as crazy as it is, it's actually kind of the way it was designed to be.
See, we're getting some education. I feel like we just got a civics lesson from Dusty Thibodeau. At least something. It feels something out of the Napoleonic Code.
Yeah.
A little arcane, but I can't imagine the governor of my state, who I'll keep that opinion of her to myself. I just can't imagine her just picking and choosing who she thinks would be the best coach for Arkansas State. That would be a little crazy around here. How about you, Shane? Do you see? Was it Governor Youngkin? Could you see him picking a coach for JMU once Bob Chesney leaves and he's off to some big P4 job?
I don't know. He's more of a basketball guy. He might actually be qualified. Not to get into the politics or my opinion on the Republicans versus Democrats, because it's pretty heated here.
I imagine
along those lines, but I would trust him maybe to make a basketball hire. He played some college ball. I could maybe live with him making that decision.
I just want to know if y'all have to do like we do in Texas, where everything's of course bigger. 17 state amendments we have to vote on.
Wait, the people get to vote on that, or does the state legislature have to vote on that?
No, this is the people, where the state legislature has added these amendments or propositions or whatever you want to call them that we, the voters, get to vote on. 17 of them.
That's a lot.
And, you better be paying attention to the language of those.
Yeah, and it's illegal to use your damn cell phone with your notes of which one. How am I supposed to vote on amendment number 8 and 9?
Well, you better do your homework, man. I mean, you're a graduate of ULM. You know what it takes to ace that test. I have a parting shot, and it's positive. It's a positive parting shot. We're about to reach my favorite time of the year. You know why, Shane? It's not because we're getting closer to Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's not because the seasons are changing. It's a little cooler. It's not because I can get a great deal when I go shopping online. No, this is the time of year where college sports condenses itself with volleyball, basketball women, basketball men, and football, all that playing at once. It's like, I don't know, it's overload. Just every night you can turn on the TV and something is on that interests you and you can watch it. I love this time of year, guys. I watched the exhibition basketball game from Arkansas State. I never watch exhibition basketball. I watched it this year. I enjoyed it. I'm gung-ho. I cannot wait. I don't know about you guys, but I am pumped. Shane, are you pumped for this time of year?
I am. It's going to be busy. It's going to be busy. Like there's a lot of basketball games over the next couple of weeks.
A lot of basketball games. Starting with the MAC Challenge. We're going to have to start paying attention here at the Fun Belt Podcast. Am I right?
I know. That JMU Akron game, I'm really looking forward to that one. And like you said, volleyball. Tibbs will want to mention soccer. We're getting into postseason soccer. So there's a lot happening.
Tibbs, isn't this your favorite time of year?
I absolutely love it. I'm counting down the hours until Monday when the MAC SBC Challenge tips off. Warhawk women hosting Eastern Michigan. The men are headed up to DeKalb, Illinois to face the Northern Illinois team.
the Northern Illinois team. I believe they are. What are they? They're
the Huskies.
The Huskies. I was going to say the Wolfpack, but they're the Huskies. Yeah,
they're the Texas State of the MAC.